Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time is definitely a pretty good one, pretty interesting one, and definitely a pretty crazy one. I was browsing my channel today, just looking through old videos, and I was watching one of my old videos called My Crazy Babysitter, and I was just watching it and just kind of, reminiscing, and a story time popped into my head that I can't believe I haven't told yet. And it's not about her, it's not about my old babysitter or anything, but it is about a babysitter who was definitely more than crazy. And it was my friends, and me and him had to both spend a night with her in the house. And it was crazy, to say the least. That's all I have to say. Let's jump into this. So today's story time all takes place back in 2012. Now, in 2012, I was definitely old enough to not need a babysitter. Everybody in my age group was pretty much old enough to not need to be supervised by a babysitter if their parents weren't home. But my friend, on the other hand, let's just call this friend Jimmy. Jimmy was a little bit of a bad kid, and his parents were going out of town for spring break. Now, you're probably wondering, Austin, why the hell are his parents going out of town for spring break? Like, what are they, 20 years old? Yeah, that's what I thought too. When Jimmy told me his parents were going out of town for spring break, the first thing I said was like, dude, are your parents in their 20s? Like, why the fuck are they going to party for spring break? He's like, dude, they both work at a school, so they get off for spring break, and they're going to celebrate. And I was like, damn, your parents are definitely living shit up. He's like, I know, man, and the worst fucking part is I'm getting a babysitter for the entire week. I was like, so wait, let me hear this straight. You're going to be home all spring break, off school with no parents, but you're going to have a babysitter? He's like, yeah, dude, don't fucking remind me. I was like, that fucking sucks. He's like, I know, dude. If you want to hang out at all this week, like, please, like, invite me over because I don't want to be there with her. Like, I don't know who this is. I've never met her before. I don't want a damn babysitter. I'm old enough to be on my own. And while that was true, he was definitely old enough to take care of himself. But like I said just a second ago, Jimmy was a little bit of a shithead. He definitely got into trouble more than the average kid did. And so did I. And I think that's why me and Jimmy were such good friends back in the day. So anyway, fast forward to spring break starting. I was home all week, just playing Xbox, doing what I usually do. Jimmy would hop on Xbox every other day and just be like, dude, I fucking hate this. Like, my babysitter's a psycho. She won't let me leave my house. Like, she's ridiculous. And then I would be like, dude, why don't you come spend the night at my house? He's like, no, dude, you don't understand. I can't go anywhere. Like, if I try to go for a walk, she won't let me leave. If I try to go to another friend's house and ask her if I can go, she'll say no. Like, I can't go anywhere. I was like, can you have friends over there? He's like, I don't know. Let me ask her. And he gets up and he comes back like 5 minutes later. And he's like, yeah, you could come over if you want. I was like, fuck it, man, I'm down. He's like, you sure? I was like, yeah, why not? Because I thought about it for a second. And I'm like, you know what? She's probably not that bad. Like, she's probably just strict or something. Like, whatever. So I go over to his house, and immediately upon meeting this babysitter, I was like, oh, she's definitely really strict. Like, the minute I got there, she was like, hi, Austin, nice to meet you. I'm babysitting for Jimmy. Just so you guys know, bedtime is at 1 a.m., no later. And that's when I was like, dude, what? Like, bedtime, bro? Like I said, 2012, we were old enough to be not having a fucking bedtime. Like, you know what I mean? So I just kind of thought about it. I was like, you know what, whatever. Who cares? I go to bed at 1 a.m. usually anyway. I don't really give a fuck. So me and Jimmy go about just going to the basement and playing Xbox like always. And then fast forward to about 11 at night. This is when shit gets weird. This is really when the story time starts, okay? 11 at night. We're just like playing Xbox like we normally do. And all of a sudden, we see something run by one of the basement windows. Like, something or somebody ran by his basement window fast as fuck. And I look over at Jimmy and he looks over at me. And he was like, dude, did you see that? I was like, yeah. He goes, what the fuck was it? I was like, homie, I don't know. He's like, shit, all right, let's go tell the babysitter. And he runs upstairs as fast as he can, yelling her name. And he keeps repeating it. And he can't find her. So I run upstairs. I help him look for her. She's nowhere in the house. We check every room in the entire house, and she's gone. And I'm looking at him, and he's looking at me. And he's like, dude, this is fucked up. He's like, why would she just be gone? Like, she wouldn't just abandon us. She's literally paid to stay here. I was like, I don't know, dude. Like, maybe she's, like, running an errand quick. Like, we're old enough to be on our own. She's probably just at the store or something. He's like, nah, dude, this is weird. So he looks outside in the backyard where we saw the running object or person or whatever the hell it was, and he sees a dark figure walking around his backyard holding a weapon, like a giant weapon of some sort. And he immediately runs over to me, grabs me, goes, put your shoes on. We have to go right now. Somebody's in my backyard with something. I was like, what? He's like, dude, I saw something walking around back there. They had a weapon or something. We need to go now. I was like, are you sure it's not the babysitter or something? He's like, no, dude, like, I don't think so. Why would she be doing that? And I'm like, dude, I think you're just being paranoid. So I walk up to the window and I look back there in the backyard, and he was right. There was somebody just like strolling around real slowly in his backyard wearing all black and had some sort of like thing in their hand. And they were wearing different clothes than what the babysitter was wearing. Like, she was wearing a very, very like light colored jacket when I met her and a light colored pair of pants. This person was wearing all black, like sweatsuit type shit, and the hood was up, so I couldn't see who it was, but it did not look like the babysitter. So at that point, I turn around, I run over to him, and I'm like, yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. And we run away. We literally run away from his own house. So we run all the way up his street onto some main road, and at that point, Jimmy grabs his cell phone. He had this like really shitty flip phone that his parents gave him for emergencies, and he calls the babysitter's cell phone number, to which she doesn't answer. It goes straight to voicemail. And then he tries to call up his parents, and they don't answer immediately either. And I'm like, dude, call the fucking cops. There was somebody walking around your backyard with a weapon or something. Like, this is for the cops, not your parents. He's like, no, dude, like, I don't want to overreact. I'm like, dude, what do you mean overreact? Like, you just saw someone in your backyard walking around in all dark clothing, hood up, and had some sort of thing in their hand that looked like a weapon. Like, I don't think it would be overreacting if you called the cops. And right as I say that, his phone starts ringing, and it's his parents calling him back. So he answers it, he puts it on speaker. He's like, Mom, Dad, I can't find the babysitter anywhere, and like, there's some person walking around our backyard wearing all dark clothing, and they had some sort of weapon in their hand. And they're like, what? What the fuck? Are you serious? And he's like, yeah. And then he tells them where we are and that like we're far away from the house. And they tell us to hang tight, stay right where we are, and that they're calling the cops. So a few minutes later, the cops were already at the house. The police station was like right down the street, and 2 cop cars pulled up right outside his house. And we approach the house where the police are, and we tell them who we are. And we're just waiting there as they like inspect the house and like look around the backyard. And they don't find anything, including the babysitter. She's still missing, and her phone's going straight to voicemail still. And at this point, I'm worried. I think his babysitter got kidnapped or some shit. I'm like, dude, what is going on? Like, this is weird. So the police like fan out and start looking all around the neighborhood for this babysitter or for this dude that was in the backyard. They're just looking for anything, basically. So we're just hanging out outside my friend's house with these cops, just like talking to them. And there's other cops patrolling the neighborhood and stuff. They're calling in like backup and shit, looking for this dude or this babysitter. Like, they're just trying to figure out what's going on. And like 30 minutes later, one of the cop car SUVs pulls up, and the babysitter is in the back seat of the SUV in handcuffs. And I notice she's wearing all black hoodie, all black sweatpants, has the hood up, just like the dude we saw in the backyard. And the cop pulls up, he rolls down the windows, and he's like, is this her? Is this your babysitter? And my friend's like, yeah. And he goes, we just found her down the street walking around with a baseball bat. And that confirmed it. Like, the clothes she was wearing, holding a baseball bat, she was the fucking creepy figure in the backyard running around. So anyway, we come to find out just a few moments later, she was on shrooms and acid. They found both of those things on her in her pockets. She was tripping absolute balls, and she was running around because she was hearing noises, and she thought someone was trying to break into her house. Like, listen, I'm not someone that's going to judge somebody for doing what they want to do with their life, but like, if you're babysitting 2 kids and it's your job to like keep them safe, you probably shouldn't drop a bunch of psychedelics and then run around outside with a baseball bat. So anyway, the story time doesn't end there. Jimmy's uncle comes over because he lived like down the street, and they obviously needed to talk to some adult or something. And yeah, Jimmy's uncle comes over. The parents were also on the phone, Jimmy's parents, and they got the babysitter's parents on the phone as well because she was only 17 and her parents drove down. And they're like, what are you doing? Like, this is your job. You're ruining it. And what ended up happening was the babysitter got escorted home by her parents. Even though they found shrooms and acid on her and she had a baseball bat roaming around, she didn't go to jail or anything because she didn't hurt anybody and she was just tripped the fuck out of her mind, and she was 17. So what ended up happening was that she got escorted home, and the next day when she wasn't tripped the fuck out and seeing and hearing shit, Jimmy's parents called her up and fired her because obviously they didn't really trust her around their son anymore because not really the best babysitter. But she didn't get arrested or anything, which I guess is good for her. And she probably learned her lesson about taking a shit ton of psychedelics while babysitting. Definitely not a good thing to do and very much not okay. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I've never seen her since. Jimmy hasn't seen her since. And his parents never hired another babysitter again because, well, they figured Jimmy was safer on his own. But yeah, guys, moral of this story is, if you're a babysitter, you should not do what Jimmy's babysitter did in this story time at all. But yeah, I can't lie. I was kind of relieved to find out that it was her all along, roaming around the backyard, running around with a fucking baseball bat, because it could have been a lot worse. It could have been someone trying to break in or something. But anyway, guys, yeah, that's pretty much that. That's where that story time ends. And in the end, everyone was all good. Everybody was okay. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys enjoyed this story time, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace.
Like, what's up? They leave me out for the dead, and now they know